For our first story, we're going to go to Breitbart.com. And I immediately see something that just shakes me to my very marrow. 17-year-old sentenced for plotting Islamic State attack on Justin Bieber concert in Wales. That's right, the Biebs. London AP. A 17-year-old Welsh teen. Whenever I say Welsh, my mind thinks it's going to say a 17-year-old Welsh corgi, and I'm going to be like, oh, look, I've got rub his belly, I'm going to rub his fat belly. But unfortunately, this is not a dog with a fat belly and short legs. A 17-year-old Welsh teen has been sentenced to at least 11 years in prison after being convicted of plotting an Islamic State-inspired attack on various targets, including a Justin Bieber concert. Okay, now, I'm going to go out on a limb. Now I know America is the only one progressive enough in the first world to have executions, but I'm going to say 11 years for plotting a terrorist attack. A bit lenient. Judge Mark Wall on Friday sentenced Lloyd Gunton to an indeterminate sentence after concluding he had a total disregard for human life. Well, you're goddamn right. Total disregard for an American hero. Evidence during his trial showed that Gunton had researched several targets in Cardiff, the Welsh capital, including a shopping centre and Bieber's performance on June 30th, 2017. That was a great performance. Yes, that's right, we trade tapes. Much like Fish fans, or Pearl Jam fans, or Grateful Dead fans, there's Bieber fans. The teen lives in Llantrisant in South Wales. At the sentencing, Wall said, "It's not possible to estimate how many people would have been murdered or seriously injured by our actions, as the attack was foiled." Okay, interesting quote. Does not really push the narrative forward, but Gunton, who suffers from an autism spectrum disorder... Oh, here we go. Here we go, listeners. I got two things to say about that. One, everyone's on this goddamn spectrum now. And everyone's so PC, and we can't just call a retard. And, of course, he's somewhere on some spectrum. The spectrum inherently implies there's no definitive end, right? It implies that it's sort of amorphous, you can't nail it down. The sort of thing that you could BS a little on, perhaps. But anyway, let's put that aside, and I'm just going to pretend that I fully support this spectrum thing, because it's going to further my next point, and it'll work out quite nicely. And my next point is going to be, stop vaccinating your kids. You're killing them. You put in mercury, I think. You put in... I don't remember all the science. We can look it up later if you really want, but I think we all know you are murdering your children because you're afraid of a little sniffer. I think that much we all can agree on. Oh, and here comes Mr. Scientist. Oh, yeah, well, here comes Mr. Scientist with his stupid glasses and his facts and whatnot. You know what's characteristic. I don't need to... You know what I'm doing. Listeners, I'm going to be honest with you. The Night Eagle is at the tail end of a one-way trip that every great broadcaster goes down at some point. I have been sending out my various maids all over town with different prescriptions, and my tolerance has built up. I am currently on, I'm averaging about, I'd say, 24 to 32 Vicodin a day, and I feel the effects. I'm very proud of what I've done here and what you've done here, what we've done here, but there comes a time when a man must admit he's no Rush Limbaugh. And I think it's time that I seek help. All of that is just a way for me to tell you I'm a little tired and out of it, so just bear with me. I might not be able to muster the same vitriol that you're used to, but rest assured, I'm very angry. I have several ulcers. We're gonna get through this. Moving on. And boom goes the dynamite. Let's go. From the Western Journal by Michael Bastache. 3/5/18, 1:41 p.m. Americans shut down Democrats' global warming obsession with bombshell stats. Alright, looks good. Now, as a student of journalism, I can tell you they're doing a good job with the inverted pyramid or triangle, if you want to be PC about it. We know right away, Democrats tired of Americans are tired of Democrats, and we're tired of all the global warming bullshit. And we're gonna get some bombshell stats to back it up. Here we go. If Democrats take control of Congress and the White House in 2020, only 6% of likely voters think they should focus on fighting global warming, according to a new poll. A poll of likely voters found, quote, 31% said they would want Democrats to focus on health care. Vox reported of a new poll by Civis Analytics, which was formed by former Obama campaign staffers. Quote, guns were the second most cited issue at 15, followed by immigration, 14%, deficit reduction, 11%, and climate change, only 6%, Vox reported. Only infrastructure and election reform ranked lower for voters. Okay, so by that next sentence, we're trying to derive something from the information. We're going to extrapolate. It sounds like it was not an open-ended questionnaire. In other words, it was something where they, would like bubble one of the choices or whatever. Otherwise, there would have to obviously be something else ranked lower that like one person put in. There's always one guy who's like, stop being mean to child pornographers, and then someone else is like, oh, husband Obama, come to dinner, and he's like, okay, because it was Obama. Now, I hear you out there saying this seems like a bit of a strange way to structure an article. Now, there is inherently going to be a spectrum. There is inherently going to be a gradient of how... Look, what I'm trying to say is they're giving people a certain number of things to pick from. There's always going to be one at the top and one at the bottom and a bunch in the middle. And it seems like specifically saying that they shut down global warming is a bit misleading. Since it sounds like, you go into the article expecting something like people were protesting some stupid global warming thing, but no, it's just, it didn't rank high enough on a poll. And I don't know. Honestly, I'm going to have to get back to you on that one. Look, Snowflake, hold on. You're not going to hear this often. I do not have a response. That is an excellent point. This appears to be a ridiculous article. I'm sure that it is not, and I will come up with something. But I cannot defend this at the moment. That's just really, really bad article. That's really, really stupid. Alright, Jesus Christ, this is the one, listeners. You better get your ears perked up. Put down your Vicodin for just 2 minutes and take a listen, because this is big. Here we go. From USA Today, Uber trucks start shuttling goods across Arizona by themselves. It's like a goddamn horror movie. And, I mean, are we just so, have we been so indoctrinated by the liberal media that we don't even bat an eye at the fact that this company is called Uber? That is German. Do we remember what the Germans did? They became the biggest sanctuary country for fleeing immigrants in the world. And for that we shall never forgive them. Written by Marco Deacava. Jeez, what sort of a government kickback did you get for hiring that one, am I right? Alright, March 6th, 2018. San Francisco. Uber has been sending self-driving trucks on delivery runs across Arizona since November. Since November? Jesus Christ! I really gotta sober up. I don't know how I let this one slip by. This is a big fucking deal, you guys. The first step in what promises to be a freight transportation revolution that could radically reshape the jobs of long-haul truckers. After testing its technology earlier in 2017, Uber began contracting with trucking companies to use its own autonomous Volvo big rigs to take over loads as they traverse the state it disclosed. Jesus Christ. Arizona listeners, call in, email me, we gotta hear stories. They're just giant goddamn machines of death rolling down your highways. In Uber's current program, a trucker meets the self-driving truck at the Arizona state border, which then takes the load across the state before handing it off at a second conventional trucker for the short-haul trip. During the autonomous trip, an Uber employee rides in the driver's seat of the autonomous truck to monitor, but not to drive. Never to drive. Unless you're talking about driving this country into the goddamn ground to be taken over by the Chinese and the Ubers. If one day both the technology and regulations play out in favor of self-driving trucks, two scenarios emerge. Well, I'm gonna say three, unless one of the two you mention is an all-out destruction of America as we know it, and your baby's bathed in hellfire. The first would find self-driving trucks handling long-haul highway legs with no one at the wheel as they meet up with conventional truckers. Oh, God. Are they going to be talking about homosexual rendezvous? As they meet up with conventional truckers who then drive the deliveries into city centers. Is that a metaphor? I don't know. Am I pushing it? Maybe. But are they? The other possibility is Uber could sell its technology to trucking owner-operators who then use it to sleep while the truck handles the bulk of long-distance driving. Well, let me say something about sleep here. You listeners, you know, but America is asleep if they think that I am just gonna let these goddamn death machines fill our highways. Truckers make their money only when their rigs are on the road. They are also limited by law in terms of how much time they can spend behind the wheel. Oh, I wonder which party passed those regulations. Something a self-driving truck could impact positively. Yeah, impact positively by shutting down good American jobs. The truckers, too. I was just thinking about all the meth dealers that are going to be out of business. But yes, the truckers, absolutely. That's a great example. It could also introduce more round-trip hauls that find a trucker back home at the end of the day's journey. I guess because he's sleeping? I don't know. They felt they didn't need to explain that one. Whatever. The big step for us recently is that we can plan to haul goods in both directions using Uber Freight to coordinate load pickups. I don't know, I still am dubious as to whether we're talking about bathroom rendezvous here. Using Uber Freight to coordinate load pickups and drop-offs with local truckers. Said Alden Woodrow, who leads Uber's self-driving truck effort. Keeping trucking local allows these drivers to make money while staying closer to home. Oh, yes, you just lull the little babies to sleep. Oh, it's a good thing, yes. And now, why don't you just, take this mind control device. Yes, you're going to be a very good worker now. We're going to just install this in your brain, and you don't even have to think while we force you to commit humiliating acts of, I don't know, pro-immigration marching. I guess they're going to make you march holding up signs that say you support immigration. Uber Freight, which launched last May, is an app that matches shippers with loads using technology drawn from Uber's ride-hailing app. Now, what did I tell you? You laughed at me. Everyone laughed at me. But now, what have I been saying about Uber this whole goddamn time? Way before the goddamn liberal snowflakes turned against it. I've been saying it's evil. I've been saying it's Germanic. I've been saying it's pro-immigrant. And now, who has the last laugh? Well, I wish it could be me. I wish it felt good to say I told you so. But it hurts my heart, because I love America that goddamn much, and I don't want to see its highways filled with evil communist machines. Anyway, it's an app that matches shippers with loads using technology drawn from Uber's ride-hailing app. Typically, such trucking logistics have been coordinated through phone calls and emails. The San Francisco-based company isn't alone in its pursuit of self-driving truck technology, with startups such as Embark joining companies such as Tesla. Oh, there's a goddamn son of a bitch if I ever saw one. Oh, let's just make cars not have to use oil. Oh, yes, why don't you just destroy everything we know about being American while you're at it? While we drive around in your little fruity-tooty tin-mobile. Tesla and its new Tesla Semi to carve out a slice of a 700 billion industry that moves 70% of our domestic freight. 700 billion industry that moves 70% of our domestic freight, according to the American Trucking Association, the ETA. Despite the push, the technology behind self-driving trucks remains in its infancy, with hurdles that include government regulations and trucker buy-in. Yeah, buying into the goddamn lie. A truck that takes the long hauls between exits, allowing a driver to sleep in the cab, could increase their profit. But they'd have to trust the technology, as well as fork over what promises to be a considerable investment to make their cabs autonomous. Woodrow says Uber's trucking plans remain in development, but he does not see the company running a fleet of self-driving trucks. Oh, really? Well, isn't that what the whole goddamn article's about, you son of a bitch? Don't you fucking lie to me. A fleet of self-driving trucks, which would imply that its technology would be available for purchase from large established shipping companies. Today we're operating our own trucks, but in the future it remains to be seen what happens, he says. Trucking is a very large and sophisticated business with a lot of companies in the value chain who are good at what they do. So our desire is to partner. Okay, again, I want to ignore it, but it's just so many innuendos I just say. Uber's trucks stick to the highway. Uber's current Arizona pilot program does not feature trucks making end-to-end runs from pickup to delivery because it's tough to make huge trucks navigate urban traffic on their own. That's right. The soulless trucks get nervous when they're around souls, so, particularly Christians and crosses they tend to shy away from. They like to go out at night. What I'm saying is they're a bunch of goddamn vampires. You got that right? Instead, Uber's Volvo Trucks receive loads at state borderway stations. These trucks are equipped with hardware, software, and an array of sensors developed by Uber's Advanced Technologies Group that help the truck make what amounts to a glorified cruise control run across the state. Yeah, cruising for a bruising on the American dream. Uber ATG is also behind ongoing self-driving car testing in Arizona, Pennsylvania, and San Francisco. This is not a political statement. I'm just saying San Francisco sounds like a real tough market to get your trucks going in. I don't know if you are familiar. I am ashamed to admit I have driven through the streets of San Francisco, and I would not want to be operating a semi-truck there. I will say that much.
A lot of Asian drivers.
Uber did not disclose what items it is transporting to which companies. Oh, great. Oh, wonderful. So we just have machines of death transporting undisclosed items. Perfect. Yes, this all sounds very lovely. Once the Uber trucks exited the next highway hub near the Arizona border, they're met by a different set of truckers who hitch the trailer to own their cab to finish the trailer to own their cab. I believe that is supposed to say to hitch the trailer to their own cab to finish the delivery. I'm just going to put this out there real quick. If anyone is looking for some freelance editors, apparently I am better than whoever the standard editors are. I'm just going to remind you, this is also online. It was different when newspapers went out. It's in ink, first of all. Second of all, everyone had their own individual newspapers. Today, it can easily be edited. Also, everyone is essentially accessing the same copy, so you really just have to one time go in and switch those words. USA Today, very large company. Anyway, my services are here, if you're looking. I was the editor-in-chief of my high school newspaper, I'll have you know, till I was kicked out for political reasons. It was called having a goddamn backbone. Anyway, I'm not there. They're met by a different set of truckers who hitch the trailer to own their cab to finish the delivery. The idea is that truckers get to go home to their families. Oh, yes. Oh, why don't you talk about their lovely little families? Why don't you just butter me up and put it in my pooper? They get to go home to their families instead of being on the road. In a video Uber created to tout the program, the company showcases a California trucker who, once at the Arizona border, hands his trailer over to an Uber self-driving truck for its trip east while picking up a different load that needs to head back to California. Now, what happens when the Arizona Highway Patrol pulls one of these over? Do they have proof that they are a citizen? Because if not, they're supposed to. I forget, they send them off. Oh my God. I'm putting it all together. Think about it. Operation Fast and Furious, Obama sending goods to Mexico. That's exactly what's going on here. Undisclosed shipments. These trucks are carrying loads of automatic weapons and bombs and drugs, and they're going to get pulled over. They get deported to Mexico, and they essentially are becoming trucks that carry goods to Mexican cartels. And obviously, Obama's behind it. I can smell his stink all over it. This is breaking news, listeners. You heard it here. You heard it here first. If I show up dead tomorrow, you best not believe if they say I had a coronary from the most terrible fast food diet the doctor had ever seen. Oh no, it's because they shot me. Do not believe the fast food wrappers that they sprinkle on me conveniently at the end. Oh no. I mean, yes, I will be... Look, yes, they were probably could go in my trash and dig up a lot of them, but the point is, pretty sure they might kill me. Big news. Here we go. Autonomous vehicles are being pursued by dozens of companies ranging from large automakers to technology startups. Slowly, states are adopting their rules to try to be on the front lines of a potential transportation shift. Michigan, California, Arizona have been constantly updating their autonomous car testing laws in order to court companies working on such tech. California recently joined Arizona in announcing that it would allow self-driving cars to be tested without a driver at the wheel. Skeptics of the self-driving gold rush include the consumer watchdog groups John Simpson, a good American name, who in a recent letter to lawmakers said, quote, any autonomous vehicle legislation should require a human driver behind a steering wheel capable of taking control. All right, and the last section. Uber refocuses after lawsuit. Here we go. Oh my God, this picture of the truck is just so goddamn ominous, staring me down. Uber's announcement aims to cast a positive light on the company's trucking efforts and comes a few weeks after it settled a contentious year-old lawsuit brought by Waymo, the name of Google's self-driving car program. Waymo's suit argued that Uber was building light detection and ranging sensors, rooftop lasers that help vehicles interpret their surroundings based on trade secrets stolen by Anthony Lewandowski, who left Waymo to start a self-driving truck company called Otto, spelled O-T-T-O. Very clever. It's like Otto, but it's German and evil. Months after its creation in early 2016, Uber bought Otto for around $680 million. Last year, Travis Kalanick, the Uber CEO who negotiated the deal with Lewandowski, was ousted from the company he co-founded after a rash of bad publicity surrounding charges that Uber ran a sexist operation that often skirted the law. Another goddamn patriot being drawn out by the terrible media and just skewered. We stand with you, sir. Maybe I can get him in touch with Cosby. Lewandowski was fired by Uber after he repeatedly declined to answer questions from Waymo's lawyers. In settling the suit, Uber had to give Waymo $245 million in equity, but it did not admit guilt. Uber has long maintained that its LiDAR was built with its own engineering know-how. Quote, our trucks do not run on the same self-driving technology as auto trucks did, said Woodrow. It's Uber tech, and we're improving on it all the time. Now that should send a shiver down your spine. The only hope we had was to have that patriot still in charge at Uber, and you know why they kicked him out? Because he wanted to... I know what you're saying, he wanted to be a creep, but what he really wanted, in addition to that, was to keep the global elite from taking over and turning his beautiful baby into a group of supercharged killing machines, capable of transporting drugs and ammunition and guns and all sorts of probably puppy porn, I don't know, the worst things you can think of, and sending it off to Mexico for the cartels to do with as they please. In fact, my next thread I'm gonna pull at, maybe were these trucks involved in the Florida shooting? I don't know. I'm just saying I don't know. I'm putting it out there. You be the judge, listener, because you have the information, and what you do with it is your prerogative. As a great man, Bobby Brown, once said. And with that, I say good night. Unless you are in one of those self-driving cars in which I say, get up, it's gonna murder you. You're gonna wake up in Mexico with your liver missing. Wake up, America. Red Pill out.